How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Next Goal Wins TV. Coach Javi here. Today's video, a lot more relaxed, a lot less structured than usual. If you guys have been actually watching the channel, you know I've been doing a lot of tactical analysis type videos. So watching a match at the weekend, breaking it down from a tactical perspective, and just kind of explaining the trends that I see, the reasons why a team was doing well or was winning the game, some tactics that I thought they might have worked on during the week based on what they were showing during the match. So if you guys like all of that stuff, that will continue. I'm going to try and do those probably once a week. It's just hard because obviously I have to watch the game, and then after the game, I've taken notes already. I have to go get the clips. I have to do the whole breakdown. It just gets really complicated. But in order to crank out more content, I wanted to just do really quick videos talking about whatever it is that's going on. So today, the Champions League, that's what we're going to focus on. Such an entertaining new format in comparison to the old format. So if you guys remember the old format, I'm going to try and catch you guys up really quickly without wasting too much time. The old format was they had a bunch of different groups, and it was top two progress from each group. And I can't even remember if the third place from some of the groups progressed or if it was just the two. But basically, the reason why it was so boring is because you'd have one really good team in each group, one pretty good team, and then two pretty crappy teams. So there was no real entertainment or no real purpose to watch the group matches because you already knew who was going to progress and who wasn't. And you play against these teams home and away. Whereas now what they've done is they have a table. So basically every team can play against every team in the group phase or whatever the official word for it is called. And it's just like any domestic league. You rank the teams 1 through 36, and the top 8 teams after 8 matches played get to progress automatically into the round of 16. Teams 9 through 24 will then play like a knockout game to progress into the round of 16. So it makes it very similarly to, like, if you guys watch the Premier League, at the end of the season, the very last match, all of the games are played at the same time, just so that there's no corruption, there's no cheating. All of the matches are played at the same time, which means a lot of different things can happen. The reason why it makes it so much more interesting in this new format with the Champions League is that because certain teams qualify in the top 8 and certain teams qualify from 9 to 25, and then the other teams are knocked out, you're looking at all of the different matches. You're trying to do all of these different calculations to see who's going to finish where. And the big one, we'll talk about it in this video. You guys know by the title, obviously some of you, that's why you came to watch. Manchester City has to win on the last match day of the group phase, right? So they're playing against Club Bruges. I don't know how you pronounce it officially. I'm gonna say Bruges. So Club Bruges. And obviously Club Brugge also has to try and win or get some sort of a result in order for them to guarantee their qualification. So they're obviously going to play a really, really tough game against Manchester City. And Manchester City, with all of the stress and all of the pressure that they're under, has to win the game. They can't tie, they can't lose. They go down at halftime 1-0, and then they come back and they score 3 goals in the second half to progress. Let's talk about this game before we move on to kind of our predictions for the rest of the Champions League. Manchester City, I've said this in some of my videos. The way that I think you need to play against them right now, I think you actually need to high press, because I think they're very shaky out of the back. They've been giving up a lot of goals, trying to build out of the back and then losing possession of the ball, and then a team quick counterattack and then balls in the back of the net. Whereas you didn't see that before. The old Manchester City, the only way that you could beat them when they were in their prime, only way you can beat them, and this goes throughout all of Pep's career, when he was at Barcelona, when he was at Bayern, Man City. The teams that really destroyed any team that was coached by Pep was a really good counter-attacking team. A team that understood how to pick their moments, probably sit a little bit more of a low block, allow Manchester City to have the possession, and then just catch them on a counter and just absolutely destroy them for the fact that they have so many numbers pushed up, and you can just counter really quickly. I haven't seen that too often. Not too many teams are sitting back against Manchester City anymore. And I think it's because of, some of the injuries that they've had. Their form hasn't been great. And it surprised me today that Bruges was a team that was like, you know what, we're going to sit in, we're going to park the bus, at least in the first half. And they did such a fantastic job of doing it. And to be completely fair, Manchester City had a couple of opportunities that they should have scored. But that's kind of the way it works. If Manchester City's not going to score, and Bruges is sitting back in a low block and waiting for the counterattacks, and it's working. Just keep doing it and keep doing it. I was talking to George, you guys know him from the channel, and I was texting him throughout, and I was like, Manchester City has all the possession. They can't finish their chances, and Bruges is just waiting for the counterattack. And lo and behold, right before halftime, Bruges gets a counterattack, clinical finish, they go up 1-0. The reason why Manchester City bothers me so much when they go into these spells of so much possession is that Pep even said this. When everybody started talking about tiki-taka, and Pep went on air or on the record and was like, I hate tiki-taka. I hate that word. I hate that phrase. The reason why he hates it, he said, is because possession has a purpose. There's an intent to score. You shouldn't want to keep the ball just to keep the ball. So when everybody was talking about tiki-taka, people forgot that the whole objective of the game was to score a goal. So people were like, oh my God, the possession looks so beautiful and it looks so nice and these one-touch passes. And Pep was like, cut that crap out. That's not what it's about. It's with an intent to score. However, it bothers me because then you watch them play and it feels like there's no intent to score. It feels like back to the tiki-taka, back to the possession and just moving the ball side to side from one end of the field to the other width-wise. And so it bothers me so much because I'm thinking if you're going to have 70% or higher possession, which you are against Club Bruges, it's okay to take more risks. Put some more balls in the box. Have some shots from outside. Try and unbalance them instead of just passing the ball around. They're going to be completely comfortable in defending if Manchester City are just moving the ball side to side. You're going to start stretching them out if you just play the ball out wide and just serve it in. Get some numbers in the box, serve it in. Of course, that leaves you more susceptible to the counterattack. But I think these are the games in which Manchester City's not going to get a pretty goal. They're not going to get a goal in which they build possession and then eventually they break a line, they break the next one, and then they're in behind, they score. That's just not how it's going to work when a team is sitting so deep. What they have to do is create chaos. And if you can create chaos, it might be one of those where the ball gets crossed in, it bounces out, it deflects off of someone, somebody finally smashes it into the back of the net. So that's the part that bothers me when I watch Man City in this type of style, when a team sits back and just sits in a low block. I think in the second half, it all started with Mateo Kovacic finally doing something different other than passing. Gets the ball right around the halfway line and just starts going, just starts dribbling past players. And because Bruges is expecting Man City just pass it around, they don't expect him to just dribble through the middle. He just dribbles through the middle and takes a shot and scores. And then all of a sudden, 1-1, game opens up. Manchester City finally, the floodgates open, if you will, not by a lot, but it becomes a lot easier to score. And obviously, Bruges gets stretched out a little bit more as the game goes on, and legs are getting heavier. And then mentally, once Manchester City scores and they're up ahead, Bruges just kind of mentally, it's over, game's over. But it just bothers me so much that it takes Mateo Kovacic just dribbling through the middle. Not a pretty play necessarily, not a beautiful possession and build-up. Just picking up the ball with no pressure, dribbling forward, and scoring. That's what it takes for Manchester City to finally realize that there is an intent for the possession, and that's to score. So that's my rant on Manchester City. The interesting thing about this is that now it puts Manchester City in a really, really interesting spot, because now what they're going to have to do is, between them and Celtic, they're going to either face Real Madrid or FC Bayern is what I mean. It's very interesting how they do this because, so for example, the 9th and 10th place teams, the ones that just finished outside of the automatic qualification to the round of 16, they will play the bottom end of the qualifier. So 9 and 10 will play against either 23 or 24. 11 and 12 will play against either 21 and 22, 13 and 14 will play against 19 and 20, and 15 and 16 will play against 17 and 18. The draw is on Friday, so by the time you guys are watching this video, the draw is probably already out, so sorry that it took me a little bit to make this video. The interesting thing is that the most entertaining match or the highest profile match in this knockout stage, which is essentially kind of like the round of 32, right, is going to be Real Madrid or Bayern against Manchester City. And even to kind of make this even funnier sounding, that could be a final. If you look at it, Real Madrid against Manchester City, for example, that's a final of the Champions League all day. Whoever wins from that is going to play either Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen. One of those two. So when you look at it from that perspective, whoever gets into the round of 16 between Real Madrid or Bayern and Manchester City actually has, you would say, an easier opponent in the round of 16. So that's kind of interesting, but that's obviously not. That's just because Manchester City finished so low and Real Madrid finished lower than expected. Bayern finished lower than expected. So now they have to go into the playoffs for the round of 16. But that's one to watch. So I'm excited to see what the matchup looks like. Like I said, by the time you guys watch this video, we'll have already known. The teams that are automatically into the round of 16 who are waiting is going to be Lille, Aston Villa, 7 and 8, and they are going to play against either 9, 10, 23, or 24. Then you have Atletico Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen, who finished 5th and 6th, who are going to play against 11, 12, 21, and 22. And then you have 3rd and 4th place, which is Arsenal and Inter, and they're going to play against 13, 14, 19, 20. And then the top two finishers, which were Liverpool in 1st place, Barcelona in 2nd place, they're going to play against either 15, 16, 17, 18. I know it's confusing. I know it's a lot of weird information. Once you grasp how this all works, I think it's one of the few recent improvements or changes that UEFA or just governing bodies of football have made to the sport that has made it better. I think we talk about all the different things that have been added and changed, VAR, and they were testing out the sin bin and the orange card or whatever, the blue card, whatever it was. All of these changes are usually they're just ways for the people at the top, all the politics and all the business people, to say that they had an effect or a change on the game, but really it hasn't really helped the game. This right here, the new Champions League format, has been absolutely fantastic because it makes you want to watch every single game of the group phase, especially that last day, because you're watching. I was watching Manchester City against Bruges because I thought that was the most interesting matchup based on where they were going to finish. But you're watching multiple screens trying to figure out who's finishing where, who needs goal differential to qualify directly, and it just makes it super, super interesting. So the only other thing I forgot to mention is that Liverpool and Barcelona are not going to face each other. Should they make it all the way to the final, they will not face each other until the final. So the 1st and 2nd place teams, the way that they end up getting placed on the, depending on the draw, on the bracket, they will always finish no matter what on opposite sides of the bracket, so they can only find themselves in the final. So we could get a Liverpool versus Barcelona final, which I think would be a very, very interesting final, because I just don't see some of the other teams getting that far. We're talking about Manchester City. I don't see Manchester City getting that far the way that they've been playing, the way that they've been, not doing great in the Premier League and obviously in the Champions League as well. But yeah, I mean, it's super exciting. You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this new format. Also, if you guys like this more relaxed type of video, it's going to be easier for me to do this because obviously I don't have to do all the planning and all the work after. I can kind of just turn on the camera, get straight into it. And then finally, if you guys are still here and still watching this video, let me know if you guys prefer the podcast mic or I have the overhead mic, so that basically this is out of the frame and this is not blocking the frame, because I was kind of going back and forth whether I should use this mic or the overhead mic that I've been using, because it's, obviously a little bit more natural, but I do like how this bad boy sounds right here. A little bit more pleasing to the ears for all you listeners out there. Let me know what you guys think about the Champions League format, Manchester City's performance, and ultimately who you guys think is going to win, because I'm not even going to give you my prediction. I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you my prediction. I'm going to wait until the draw comes out, maybe do another video after the draw, and then I'll give you guys my prediction after that. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.